You've all heard it, design strategy. People bang on about it over and over. Oh, we're just flooded with it on the internet, on LinkedIn, on Facebook. We are always told about all these new acronyms and these really cool words, and they mean fancy things. I always kind of used to think, well, I'll try it out, see how it goes. You know, I like design thinking personally because it works well. It's laid out very, very clearly. And I like how the first step is empathize. And empathize, I mean, I'm not going to, like I said, I'm not going to teach you all about this because, you know, you've already done this, I'm sure. But it's interesting how we kind of glaze over this first step when it is the most important. First step will set up the next few steps. And, you know, a lot of the strategies out there have this understanding the problem step at the start. Because if you don't understand the problem, how are you going to solve it, ladies and gentlemen? How are you going to solve it? I always ask that to some of my students to think, you know, we've got a problem, you know, identify the problem, you emphasize, say, okay, what's clearly wrong in this situation or this product or this space? How are we going to fix it? And a lot of the time they kind of look blankly at me, they pick up their phone and start Googling. Okay, yep, research is good. Research is amazing, but we have to talk to the person involved. Part of this problem solving is the person, you and them, face-to-face or over the phone or however you communicate with your clients, and you need to understand, how can I help you? What is it that what's your problem? What is the issue here? What do you want me to fix? Okay? And until you understand to like the full extent of their problem, how are you going to fix it? I had a lady once who I was designing a kitchen for, using, of course, 2020. And I have to say, it was quite interesting. She had all these quotes, and quotes in Australia, you know, they can be very long-winded, and they're 3 to 4 hours. And for some reason, people say, I need 3 to 4 quotes, and I just think it's a very long-winded process, quite frankly. I think you should go ahead with the person you like, the price is right, the materials are right, and the company is right. But regardless, I was the third person to come in. She's already spent, you know, 8 to 12 hours with other people. And I was watching her, and she said to me, you know, would you like a cup of tea? And I said, yes. Oh, yes. Actually, I love coffee. I'm a coffee drinker. Bit of a coffee snob in Melbourne. That's how we roll. So I said to her, yes, of course. Now, there's a method to my madness, so hang on with me. This is part of my empathize. This is part of my understanding the problem. I asked her, what don't you like about my kitchen? And she said, oh, I don't like the bench space. I don't have enough. And I don't have like the storage. And she identified things that is being kind of preempted for her. People, like, that's what everybody says. But I needed to know what her problem was. What is the reason why she needed that space to change? Because it looked fine. There's nothing wrong with the kitchen, quite frankly. I hate putting things into landfill if I don't have to. But she said, okay, she told off, and I watched her make. I said, oh, firstly, I told her, I don't like to drink alone. I have to drink, you know, wine and coffee can't be drunk alone. Has to have a partner in crime. So she has to then make 2 cups of coffee. So she's standing there, you know, around the kitchen, and she's making her coffee and tea, and she's, you know, she's like, have you ever seen chickens? Guys, can you imagine chickens? You know, they're kind of just all over the place. There's no order. They're just kind of pecking around and running around. That's what she reminded me of. She went from the kettle to another section where the drawers were, and then she walked all the way across the kitchen to the cup, and then all the way over to the pantry to get the coffee, and then she went all the way to the sink to fill up the kettle, and she was all over the joint. I'm thinking the layout of this kitchen is her problem. But then she killed me because she was walking around like a chicken, and she was asking me for more bench space and more storage. And I just said to her, when she brought me the coffee over, I said to her, you know, I was counting your steps, and you've done like maybe 200 steps in like 3 minutes. Like, what are you doing? So what do you mean? I said, well, firstly, you went here to there, to there, to there, to there to make 2 cups of coffee. Is that something that you're happy about? No, I hate that. No, I hate how my drawers are over here, and I hate how my sink is over there. I know, now I have the real problem. And now I can design effectively and solve the problem and have more chances of her buying my kitchen. So it's just very relative. You have to set it up properly. You can't just kind of go in there and assume, you know, yeah, I can do it. I'm a designer. I've done this before. I know how to fix this. Let's go. Let's start talking about colours. Oh, my Lord. Designers everywhere. the one way to get the iris with me is how do you start a conversation about design? Oh, what colours do you like? Oh, wow. No. That is irrelevant right now. You need to understand problem, and that's why strategies are so important. Now, regardless if you use design thinking or something else, you need to have a process that you have in place to work effectively, to understand the problem, to design effectively, and then to deliver a solution effectively. You personally can't be running around like a chicken trying to figure out, oh, this person, what are they on about? I'm the designer. I've got a Hexted. I've gone to college and I know what I'm doing. This person, what an idiot. They don't want to listen to me. I think actually there's only one idiot in that conversation. It's probably when you look in the mirror. It's very important, and that's what I said about before. It's not about you. So design strategy is so important for you. Effective in business, banking, use design thinking strategies. Excuse me, automotive, like all of the finance, like all these different other sectors of the world, other jobs, they do this. They use our design thinking strategies in their business to make it more efficient. But designers don't, and in that, it's so important. But I would always add, before you start, thinking how implementing at the end, I would always add, how does it die? What happens to this space when this space is done and dusted? And these materials are going to be ripped out. They're going to go to landfill. Can they be recycled? Can it be reborn? Can it be repurposed? Like I said, we are all responsible for what goes and gets buried into the ground again. And it's not good enough for us to say it's the next generation's problem. That's not fair. Because we're blaming the previous generation for doing that to us.